The New York Attorney General has decided it is going back after JP Morgan for some more infractions regarding the financial crisis. They're reaching deep down, going into the time machine to back to 2006 when Bear Stearns underwrote some collateralized mortgage obligations, CMOs. Here's the thing, and I'm here with Keith Bliss from Cotone. We've already come to settlements with these banks over issues with the financial crisis, and to go back now 6 years seems like, to me, it's like shakedown.
Well, it is a shakedown, and I'm cynical enough to know that this is a politically motivated charge. A lot of the attorneys general around the country are now bumping up against statute of limitations to file some of these lawsuits. The really odd thing is that they're suing JP Morgan for activities that were done in Bear Stearns when Hank Paulson, Tim Geithner, and almost every other person high in the government back in 2007, 2008 were on their knees begging JP Morgan to buy Bear Stearns so that we wouldn't have this massive financial collapse. At the end of the day, it now appears that JP Morgan paid too much at $2 a share. If they get sued and they have to pay a massive settlement out of this. This is, candidly, this is just nonsense, what's going on. Listen, I'm all for prosecuting bad behavior and evil doing, and certainly there was a lot of that. You have the emails and you have the other correspondence, which tells us that people were putting debt instruments together that they knew were not high quality and they were selling them to the general public. But what people don't realize is if you keep nitpicking at the financial institutions for past behavior that JP Morgan had nothing to do with, then you further diminish the ability of JP Morgan to be a stable financial institution. If you don't have stable banks in this country and an economy, you don't have an economy, and that's what people are missing.
Well, and ultimately, it was not Betty Bungalow that was buying these CMOs. These were sophisticated institutional buyers. They have probably already made money over these products. I'm sure they have bought and sold them several times. They're probably sitting over in, who knows, over in the Maiden Lane portfolio over at the Federal Reserve. So if some of those bonds were there, I mean, wouldn't you kind of be suing your boss if you were kind of suing over the Maiden Lane properties?
Well, potentially, and the other thing you have to remember is that there was actually a fair amount of insurance on some of these debt instruments, and a lot of these debt instruments were actually put back to the issuer at the beginning. So the ultimate investor who got defrauded, according to the New York Attorney General, actually got some of their money back, if not 100 cents on the dollar, when these deals went down. So that just tells me that they're just looking for any way possible to grab a headline. It's politically motivated. I'm not sure what it's going to solve at the end of the day, other than further diminish the quality of our banking institutions. And again, like them or hate them, if you don't have strong banks, you don't have a strong economy. That's just a fact of the matter. That is fundamental money in banking, and I'm very worried that these continued actions against the banks are going to really decimate what we're doing inside of our financial area inside of the economy, and will hurt us all.
All right, well, it sounds like the only thing that's going to be happening over at JP Morgan right now is they're going to get more lawyers to have to fight this thing. Also, if we recall, they did go after the hedge fund managers, Ralph Chaffee and Matt Tonino over at Bear Stearns, and those were thrown out. They didn't find them guilty.
Yeah, exactly right. So that's increased costs for the banks, these litigation costs. They're already being held back on the activities they can do to make money. Let's be honest, those increased costs, they don't absorb them. They get passed on to the end consumer somewhere down the line through increased fees or other costs to actually transact business inside of the bank. So again, if these are politically motivated, these types of actions, then it's really hurting everybody and only scoring headlines for the people that are bringing these actions. And that's the most demoralizing thing about this issue.
All right, well, we're going to keep our eye on this because it does seem like there's a lot more behind this suit that's being filed, and not so much that they are looking to protect those investors, but maybe shake down the company for a little bit more money.
This market has fewer players.
We're coming into a Monday where we're going to
enter in a new stage of tech.
It's a stock picker's market.
Welcome to the 5 dumbest things.
Apple reported earnings.